Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers should exercise caution when watching this program, as it may contain images of deceased persons.
Brooke Blurton is an inspirational young Noongar Yamaji woman who refuses to let her past define who she is today. She draws inspiration from her family and her younger brothers to pursue her passion for Aussie rules and mental health awareness.
Everything that's kind of happened in my life has pushed me into this for a reason, and I'm kind of grateful for that. I'm working for Nunanjara Council, which is an Aboriginal corporation that houses 12 different communities. I kind of work in their STEP program, which is like a tenancy support program with helping Aboriginal people with basic skills of how to live and pay their rent. With Aboriginal people and the work that we do, we kind of have to adapt their sort of way of living to the way, the Western society's way of living, and that's the biggest challenge. They're in remote communities, they live off the land, they're quite traditional in the way that they do things and the way that they kind of live. In Noongar culture, we have a strong sense of, belonging, community and family. I grew up in a country town in Carnarvon. I kind of spent my childhood there up until when I was about 11. My mum unfortunately passed away. She committed suicide. That was pretty hard time. So living in Carnarvon and living with mum and nan and losing mum, and then my nan actually passed away a month later. So yeah, we all kind of, as kids, had to kind of separate. All my brothers and I, we didn't really have a lot of strong, like I said, a lot of strong role models. So kind of creating that myself was my inspiration.
Brooke was definitely someone I had to run to when I had problems. I went through quite a bit of depression when I was on drugs, drinking a lot, just wasn't really in the right place. Yeah, she'd always talk me out of it.
My biggest passion in life is mental health. Working and growing up with a lot of, drug and alcohol violence in my childhood, really. I had an older sister who suffered from, schizophrenia. So growing up, that was pretty complicated. And then, losing mum to suicide. It wasn't until I kind of experienced my own mental health problem that I was like, this is something. Sport has definitely been a massive outlet for me in my life. I've, kind of grow up in a community type feel, and then, moving to Perth, I was kind of isolated. So I've always tried to stay connected in that kind of community aspect, and I've, mentored a couple of Aboriginal girls and coached, a part of the Kirby Bentley Cup. I've always kind of been an active kid growing up, so kind of always playing AFL in the middle of the road, in a country town. Being involved with the AFL program throughout high school, it opened a lot of doors, and there was a lot of opportunity and in women's, AFL, and it was growing. So, taking full advantage of this opportunity, and then having the opportunity to represent your state was pretty massive. And representing WA State in my first year, 2010, and then leading on from there, and then having a goal to kind of be bigger the next time, and get into the state team the next year, and then the next year. And there was one year that I didn't get in, but it didn't stop me, and then the next year I did again. Growing up so naive and not understanding mental health, and to now understanding it, I'm more passionate about making some sort of change and preventing from, losing loved ones, because I know what it feels like. Well, we have connection to culture, connection to land, connection to spirituality. If it's still sharing my story, or if it's doing my mental health first aid instructing, my biggest goal in life is to make some sort of improvement with mental health in our Aboriginal communities and Aboriginal youth.